Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy with the Chris Bitten Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
Today, we're thrilled to chat with country music sensation Robby Johnson. Known for his soulful voice and heartfelt lyrics, Robby's making waves in country music. And we're going to dive into his journey, his songs, and what's next for him.
So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hey guys. Hello, Chris. Hello, Sandy. Thank you so much for having me on the Chris Benton Show. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
I love it. And one of my buddies of it's funny. He said Chris and Robby. He forgot about you.
Yeah, he thought I wasn't going to be on. But, hey, Joe. All right, so let's start with your current single, Road I'm On. What inspired this song, and what message do you hope listeners take away from it?
Okay, so the way I write my music, it's fairly simple. I sit down with my guitar and I fool around with a chord progression, and I really just let it out. And sometimes without knowing it, the song is all about me. And it's the case for this one. I was just, fooling around, and the words just come out. I don't question them, and I'm not trying to, I don't have a list of words that, I'm going to write a song about this, and that. I just let it out, and that's how this song came about. I just let it out, and halfway through, I'm like, oh, okay, it's about me.
Yeah.
And, the song's about, my parents divorced. I was 5. My father left, abandoned us. So it left a big hole. And that's what the song's about. I mean, it's part of me. It's a part of me, and it made me who I am. And that's, like I said, that's what the song's about.
Love that. So you talked about your guitar. You just pick it up. If your guitar could talk, what would it say about you?
That I should practice more. No, I mean, what would it say? I think it would say, just trust your instincts. I do it already, but I should be doing it more. Trust your instincts and just let your subconscious, talk and do the songwriting. And don't be afraid. Don't be scared to experiment, and just do it. Just let it out.
Now, back in your plant days when you worked at the plant, which we'll go back to that in a minute. But before we go there, what lesson did you learn back during that time that you've been able to apply to your life with music?
I would say back then it was more of, it was very mechanical. It was work in a factory, and I don't know if it
work
just, work it. No, but it taught me, you can hear it in my song because I've had so many lives. So I know what people are going through. I know what a 12-hour shift is, and, having half hour to eat and then a little break, and then you work for, 11 hours. So, I can share more with the listeners because I've had that life too. It's not like I've always been an artist, and, and I started singing in bars when I was 16 or something like that. And that's my life. I've had other lives where, I was working 12-hour shifts and working some weeks was 48 hours a week. And then you would barely sleep, and you would do night shifts, and then it would switch to day shifts. It was crazy. Sometimes you would never see the sunlight because it was 12-hour shifts. So it was pretty intense. And I guess, like I said, it's, in my music, maybe it shows in my music that I know what people are going through, and I share that with my listeners and fans.
Yeah, Joe asked, what kind of plant was it?
Oh, it was a synthetic fiber plant. There's a bunch. There's actually, I would say, in Georgia is where there are the most plants like that.
Okay.
It makes that synthetic yarn for carpets.
Yeah.
So you have huge companies that have those kind of equipment in Georgia, And yeah, so that was a type of manufacturing plant.
Wow. So let's go back a little bit. When did it click for you that music actually could be a career?
Well, it was crazy because I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't go through the bar scene. I didn't do the bar scene. I didn't do that. I had another life. I worked at the plant, and then I worked as a sales rep on the road, driving around, listening to radio, never ever thinking that one day I could be on the radio. So it wasn't really a dream, but I would always sing, in the car, in the shower, and it would be original material that I would just write. I wrote my first song on a 12-hour shift at that manufacturing plant. That's where I wrote my first song. And it was a lot of fun. And I just continued writing songs and singing them just for the fun of it. And at one point, my girlfriend, she was like, "You got to hear yourself," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm not a singer. I'm not an artist." And then she passed the hat, and she got enough money and gave me this Christmas gift, which I think is the worst Christmas gift ever. She gave me a session, a demo session in a studio with some high level, players and everything. And as a Christmas gift. And back then I was like, oh, wow, because I wasn't considering myself an artist or a singer. So I was like, oh, wow, that's a great gift. But I wasn't too sure about that. But I went to the studio with my father-in-law, and I decided to do one of my feel-good songs, "I'll Be There, Rockin' and Rollin'," a country rock song that I had written. And just so that everybody has a blast, so everybody would have fun in the studio. So I wasn't going there to sing a power ballad and cut a hit and become a major star. It wasn't that. It was really, okay, let's just be done with this and have fun. So that's what I did. And I went to the studio, started singing, and the guys were like, "Wait a minute, who are you?"
Oh, wow.
What are you doing here? This sounds like Nashville. You should
Oh,
go,
wow.
you should really go to Nashville. I mean, it sounds like what's on the radio, and there's something, your voice, everything, it works. And I was like, "No, come on, guys, stop it. Let's just do this. Let's just be done with it."
You just thought because they were being paid, they were.
No, they really looked sincere.
Wow.
And I was, but then, it wasn't me. I was a sales rep on the road. I had a life. I had a house. I had kids. I had, bills, lots of bills, swimming pool to take care of, and, the lawn and everything. So I was like, no. But on that day, I felt kind of at peace with myself. I loved the energy in the studio where everything's possible, in a studio, and you never know what's going to happen. And it's very magical. And also going back home with that song playing in the car is like, oh, okay, maybe. But then it still took me a while to kind of figure it out. I really needed that push. And it's the same for so many things in my life. Every time I say I'm never going to do something, I just end up doing it. It's crazy. I'm never going to be a sales rep on the road. That's a crazy life. And
then there you were.
I was a sales rep on the road. I'm never going to have children. I have 2 beautiful children I adore. Or I'm never going to be a waiter in a restaurant. I was a waiter in a restaurant. I have so many jobs and different jobs. And also I'm not an artist. I'm never going to be an artist. I'm never going to be on radio, never going to be on TV. And it happened.
Somebody has a question for you.
Yeah, I think it's because I knew it deep down inside, like the kids and everything. It's just that it scares me. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, no. But it's because I know that's what's going to happen. I'm trying to, it scares me.
We got a question on the screen. It says, how did being a sales rep help you in building relationships and partnerships, collaboration with other artists?
Well, what's funny about this one is that, my wife gave me that gift because she saw that I wasn't that happy in that life. And so when I started and I stopped working as a sales rep, I moved to Nashville to start a music career. And I was like, oh my God, I'm out of sales. I was so excited to be out of sales, just to realize that now I'm the product. And I need to be selling it 24/7 all the time. And I can't drive back home and say, I hate these products. I wish we had better products, because I'm the product. So it's funny. But it helped me so much, because on the road, I would do some training, with at the companies. And sometimes there'd be, 30, 50 people where I'm in charge of the room and I'm training people. So I was at ease, in public because of that. It helped me a lot. And also to reach out and understand people, because when you're training people, it's not just, you can't blame it on the people that can't really learn. It's all upon you to figure out what's coming through, what they're understanding, and how to, make it work for them and for everybody. So that helps a lot in a live show, when you see the audience, you can feel the pulse and understand what's happening. Or, in a conversation, when you meet people, to know how they're feeling and all that about what's happening, and adjust so that everybody's comfortable, everybody has a good time. So yeah, it helped a lot.
So Joe says, has you ever been to Johnny Cash Museum?
No, I haven't. I've walked past it so many times.
Oh, that's us too.
And I should. It's right here. I mean, I should go. I went to Sun Records a few times to I did that in Memphis, and also Elvis, Mansion and all that. I toured all of that, Graceland, and loved it. But no, I've never done the Johnny Cash. I should, because I have a song that's inspired by Johnny Cash and has that Johnny Cash feel to it. And it's funny because
we love Johnny and June.
We do. Yeah.
So I've played this. I do this song live. It's a song I've written. And after a show, someone walked up and he really thought it was a Johnny Cash song.
Oh, wow.
Like, no, it's inspired by Johnny Cash. But it's not a Johnny Cash song, but it has that feel to it.
Yeah, and then Doug asks, have you ever added a cello on your songs?
Yes, but it's not released. I have one. Yes, I do have one that has cello, but it was never released. And it was the title was oh my God, that's a long time ago. That's on my first project when I first moved to Nashville, and I can't remember the name of the song. I'm so sorry, but it was so beautiful. And it's funny because one time we were playing the session, and for some reason, the cello was soloed, and it was the only thing playing with my vocals. And I was like, why don't we just release that? It sounded, was so nice. And so it was beautiful, but it didn't happen.
So Joe asked, it's funny, we're getting all these questions. How many? We don't own any.
Between us two, 0.
Yeah, I do have a black cowboy hat, a Stetson, and I love it.
Oh, awesome.
So, as you know, people see you, but the glory behind what you do, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get to any level within music. And nobody really talks about this side of it, but we do. So take a few moments and just tell us, what is that grind like, so people can kind of understand that it's not easy.
Okay. It's as if you decide to invent a new product and it's there, it exists, you have it in your hands, but nobody knows about it. Nobody's going to buy it. So you got to get it out there. You got to have it, you got to spread the word. And you can't rely just on people just falling in love and telling all their friends, hey, you got to buy this product. And so it's the same for music and being an artist. You just release a song and you have to get it out there and find any way, every way is possible to push it. And the thing is, you don't know if people will relate to it, will love it. You never know. All you can do is just release it and hope that it connects with people. And, you promote it the best you can, but you never know what's going to happen. And, that's why having one hit is I heard that from John Bon Jovi saying having a hit song is a miracle. Having more than one it's unbelievable. It's crazy.
It's like being struck by lightning.
Yeah, more than once. It's crazy. And so it's so hard. And of course, it's hard for people to understand, because when you look at the big stars, they make millions of dollars. They pack an arena. They make $500,000 in one night. It's even more, depending on the merch and the artist. But it's not the same for a starting artist, and it's not that. And it's a big pyramid. And to get to that level, to get out there and do shows, it costs a lot of money. You got to pay the band, you got to pay the bus, you got to pay the gas, you got to pay so many things. So it's a lot of artists out there are grinding, and they have backers, because they wouldn't be on the road. They wouldn't be doing shows if it weren't for that, because you're breaking even. All the money, the revenue you have to reinvest in the music, in promoting the music. So it's really tough. So I'm really thankful.
Then you get all the managers and PR people, and so
there's an exhibit at the Country Hall of Fame with the bobbleheads, and you can see everybody
that's part of it.
And it's a huge wall with so many bobbleheads. It's crazy how many people are involved in the music career. So it's very tough. It's a roller coaster ride,
and it's a lot of sacrifice for y'all. And I know one big sacrifice you made. Tell us about that day that you had to say goodbye to the job and take that risk. What was that? What was going through your head, and what was going through your family's head?
Well, the thing is, the reason it happened like this is because I started, my career in Nashville. I was going back and forth. It's Tom Roach, he worked with the Osmonds. He hooked me up with Jimmy Nichols here in Nashville. So I started going back and forth to Nashville. And at one point I sat down at Sony Music Nashville with Jimmy Nichols, and there was Jacques Dion, and there was also Jim Catino, who was the big A&R back then at Sony Music Nashville. And he explained to me, he said, listen, Robby, there are thousands and thousands of artists that come to Nashville every year to make it, and thousands that leave. And so we can't help everybody. We're going to help the artists that truly believe, that are committed 100%. If you come here for a weekend here and there, a long weekend here and there, or a couple months, and then go back, and it's because you're trying. You're just trying. You're not doing it. So we're going to help people that are doing it, that it's the plan A, it's their plan B, it's the only plan they have. I'm going to make this happen. So we're going to help you if you move to Nashville and are committed, 100%. So that's when I was like, okay, if I really want this, because the dream wasn't just, to make music, be an artist. It was really to break out in Nashville. So, I just decided, hey, let's take a leap of faith and just do this. But I mean, we had I had Jimmy Nichols in Nashville, and then Frank Myers, tagged along. I mean, great songwriter, won a Grammy. I mean, the guy's is such a he's great. We had so much fun working together, and so it wasn't like I was jumping, I had some good people around me, and we had a plan. So it wasn't like I was just, hey, let's just
basically, it was a calculated risk.
Back then, that's what I thought. Because the thing about Nashville is I keep saying, what am I going to learn tomorrow that would have been really helpful yesterday? That's how it works. You always learn something new. Yeah.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned on this journey so far?
You have to be true. It has to come from the right place. You have to be authentic. You can't fabricate it. It's impossible to fabricate it. It has to be, yes, sometimes you will see an artist who will kind of, pimp up his brand where he's gonna, get it to a higher level, but it's still him. He's just exaggerating what he truly is. So that's fine, but it has to be true. It has to come from somewhere true. So that's what I learned. Because a lot of people, they're amazing singers, so much talent. They come here, but they're not truly artists. They just want to be stars. It's not like they're sharing something from deep down. No. They're just grabbing a song and, from a catalog and just sing it. I mean, it can go a certain length. I mean, it can get you somewhere, but it's not going to get you to the top because people, they can feel it. They can feel it.
They know if you're a fraud or not, just like Joe says, it's spot on with authenticity. Mm-hmm. People can smell a fraud a mile away.
Oh yeah. Totally.
People see you, but they don't see the team behind you. And in our opinion, teams never get any love. Yeah. On our show, they get some love. So take a few moments and just tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
All right. So I would say, Scott Sexton, my publicist, he's the one that got me on your show. So he's part of the team. He's been doing a great job. I'm so happy to work with him. Music-wise, I worked very closely with Danny Rader. He's phenomenal. He's touring. He just went off tour. He was on tour with Kenny Chesney. Amazing player. He will play any instruments, and he can produce. He's been, helping me produce my music. Most of my recent stuff, I worked with Danny. So I will just come up with the song, and then I sit down with Danny. I play the song or try to play the song. And he just brings, he's played on all the hit records of Kenny, Dierks Bentley, John Party, all Jason Aldean. He's played on numerous hit records. So he knows how it needs to be done. And so he just brings his input, and oftentimes we'll work the lyrics together. We'll tweak the lyrics together. We'll tweak the arrangements and all that. So he gets a co-writer credit on pretty much everything we work on together. And so he's on the team, and he's doing a great job. Also, I have a Clarence J, who's also another producer. He's from LA but moved to Nashville, and he helped me a lot for my Christmas single because he has that experience with Christmas music. And when there's when you need someone, it's good to have, and it's nice that you bring to light people on the team, because it is a teamwork, and you can't get there on your own. But I would say most important on the team is the fans. They make it happen. I mean, you can have no matter what, they're the ones that make it happen. They're the ones that share it, that talk about it, that spread the word and make it go viral. It's the fans. So they're the most important.
Love that.
Yes, love
You speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 13-year-old. I keep saying little, but he's not little no more. He's almost
he's
he just
now.
turned
He's
13.
official teenager. Yeah.
But while she's going to go get him, we can go through some of the questions a few people had.
Sure.
Like Joe said, in your opinion, is having a good look just as important as being able to sing?
No, I don't think so. I think what is important, more than having a good look and more than being able to sing, is having something to say that people relate to. That's the most, I mean, so many examples of artists that don't have the look or don't have the voice, but have huge careers and fans that follow them everywhere around the world because, you connect. They speak directly to your heart. And in some cases, I mean, I keep saying it's like a package,
package deal.
It's a package deal. And sometimes, Luke Combs wouldn't be Luke Combs if he didn't look like Luke Combs. If he'd look anything different, it wouldn't work. I don't know. It is what it is. It's like a little powder or something. I don't know what it is, but same for, Morgan Wallen.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And Jelly Roll.
Great example. Jelly Roll wouldn't be Jelly Roll if he didn't look like Jelly Roll. I mean, everything has to glue together, which going back to being authentic and being true. So that's how it happens. So sometimes you'll have someone that has the looks and has the voice, but it's not coming from the right place and it just doesn't click. There's so many examples.
And you got to really want it.
Oh, you got to really, really, really want it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and Doug was asking, is Branson, Missouri, a still growing spot?
I'm not too sure about that question, but it's always good to be in Florida. I would go right now if I could. Love Florida.
All right. Hey, Robby. So, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food. I would say favorite food. I love a good steak. And I would say a good steak or filet, thick filet mignon, or with a baked potato loaded. Yeah, love that.
All right, my favorite food is pizza.
Well, I mean, if I love pizza too. I gotta say, we have Jet's Pizza not too far, and it's insane. It's so good. Yeah. The deep dish, it's incredible. But I can't eat pizza because for me, unfortunately, my brand, I have to maintain a certain look, so I got to be careful because that's my package, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's my package, and I gotta work out and make sure. And also, the thing is, there's a year I started touring because in my shows there's a lot of energy. I jump around, kind of like a little bit like Garth Brooks, and I interact with the crowd. And I remember there's a tour where I guess I had too much pizza. In spring or something. With that summer tour, I was breathing and I was catching my breath all the time. I was like, I hate this. There's no way I'm gonna do a show and feel like this again. So now I'm being careful. But we had pizza. We make homemade pizza. We had some this weekend on Saturday night.
All right, I got another question. So what's the coolest thing that's happened to you on your journey so far?
Okay, so many things happen. I have a few highlights. I sang twice with Keith Urban on his Ripcord world tour. That was pretty intense. I opened for Keith. That's where I first met him. I opened for Keith, a huge festival. There were 35,000 people because I was the opening act. And when I started, there was 35,000 people in front of me. So that was pretty cool. There was, I would say, maybe 80,000 for Keith later in the night, but still 35,000 people. That's a lot of people.
Oh.
That was a nice highlight. But I got to say, going back to, fans being the most important thing in the equation, the best moments and the highlights is when I'm doing a live show and I'm in the moment. And it's an incredible feeling because sometimes you're in a live show, you're putting out a great show, but you're not totally in the moment. You're not in, it feels like it's happening ahead or behind, or you're not in the moment. But when it happens, and man, it's an incredible feeling. You turn around, you look at your bandmates, and you make eye contact, and it's like it's happening, and then you look at the crowd and it's the same thing. It's happening now. So that's the best feeling ever. What's
been a meaningful feedback you got from a fan, since you love your fans like this?
I gotta say, and it's funny because sometimes signing autographs after the show sometimes is my favorite part of the show, which is weird. And sometimes I would sign autographs for 2 and 3 hours. So I miss the party with the band after the show all the time, and they just go and have fun and drink, and I'm there signing autographs, but I love it. And one time there's this guy that walks up to me and he tells me, and my kids weren't too far, so they witnessed it. And that was great because they make a lot of sacrifices as well. And he said, I saw you on TV a few months ago and it saved my life.
Wow.
So that was that. I would say that was something that really touched me, was that moment with that fan saying he saw me on TV talking about, follow your dreams and be passionate about what you do and all that. And he just said, yeah, man, I was in a bad spot and it saved me.
Love that.
All right, that's it.
All right, thank you so much. Great questions.
Yeah.
And then we got Joe asked again, have you ever done any USO tours?
I've done some shows here and there, few festivals and fairs, but I've never done, like a full blown where you go in almost every state and you do a show. But it's the goal. It's the goal. But like I said earlier, it's really expensive to get out there and do this. So it's tough. It's really tough. It's really tough.
Love that. So where do you want to be in 5 years?
In 5 years, I just hope to, like I said earlier, live these moments with the fans and get out there and just be in the moment and having a great time with the crowd and the band and connecting and sharing something that's bigger than all of us.
Love that. So let's look down the road. Let's say you're 20 years down the road. You're a success on a grand scale, whatever that looks like for you. You're there. What do you hope you never forget along that journey?
I hope I never forget all the lives I've had before music. Poverty when I was a kid, working hard, those 12-hour shifts, being a waiter at a restaurant where your hips hurt, your feet hurt, and you burn yourself, the hot plates and all that. And it's tough. And all those other jobs that I have done, so many. I've done some lawn work. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at Burger King, Subway. I mean, I've done them all. I was a pizza. It's funny you're I was talking about pizza. I was a pizza boy. I would, do the pizzas. And,
I've been a pizza driver in the past.
I've done that. Not a pizza driver. I was a chicken. I was delivering chicken.
Oh wow!
And it was scary. Sometimes I was kind of going a little bit over the limit to deliver on time. But yeah, it's just remembering that, and also I would say remembering all the sacrifices of the people around me who supported me.
So Doug asks, is your favorite venue playing outside?
I mean, it's cool playing outside. It's real. I love it when, big venue, thousands of people, but I also like a theater, because in a theater setting, it's not like a festival or a fair where it's all about party and having a good time and party. I mean, that's great. I love it, but I also love being in a theater where it's more about storytelling, and then you go to the song, you entertain, but at the same time you can crack jokes and tell some anecdotes and talk about Nashville, talk about growing up, or the first time my kids came to Nashville, how it happened and all that, leaving the airport in a rental car, and that's a cool story, because my son back then, his favorite song was from the movie Cars, Life is a Highway from Rascal Flatts. Mm-hmm. And that was his favorite song ever. And so we're at the airport, and we decide to rent a Mustang.
Oh, wow.
Convertible, and so it was red. It was kind of like Flash McQueen, Lightning McQueen, so we get in the car, we have luggage on top. But the craziest thing happened is, as we get on the highway, I open the radio, and that's the song that starts.
Oh, wow.
It was like
magical.
It was, I still can't believe that. And it was really the start of the song. It's not like it was halfway through the song. It was really as if I had pressed play, but it was on the radio. So it was, oh my God. And then we were driving on 40 West, heading towards Nashville. We would see the Batman building and all that. And it was really crazy. It was fun.
We've got a story. Our first time ever visiting Nashville in 21. We were walking down, and we got in front of Honky Tonk Central.
Yep, and that's the first place everybody goes. But that's the first place I went.
But we were in front of it, and this guy runs out of Honky Tonk Central, and I think little Chris was like 8 or 9 at this time, and might have been 10, but hands him a drumstick and says, that guy, the drummer in there, says he wanted you to have this. Weird that this happened, but this ain't the great part. This was the cool part. But so we thought that was pretty cool. First time. Yeah. This is the first time we start walking downtown. Yeah. So then we cross the street, and we're listening to the music at Dierks Bentley Row, and through the window, and the lady singer was glanced outside and seen him holding a drumstick. So she jumps down and asks him would he like to play drums with the drummer.
Wow.
For one song. And so he's like, yeah. And so she pulls him through the window, and I jumped through the window too, because I'm going to film this.
Yeah.
And so he gets on the drums, and he gets the beat on the drums while they're playing Summer of '69.
Wow. That's nice.
And that was our first experience. And literally our first, because we just came from, I think we went to the hotel, dropped off the stuff. Then we drove around maybe for an hour or two. And then we went straight downtown, got out the car, and that was our first walk. And then that happens.
That's cool. That's very cool.
So he's, and it's funny. Every time we go to Nashville, he holds a drumstick with him every time, because he's actually had it happen once more, but he tries to repeat.
Wow.
That.
Yeah, of course. It worked twice. So why not?
It's worked twice now. So as we close out the show here, what advice would you give that person that wants to do what you do?
It's like I was saying earlier, just be you. Don't try to fabricate something. Don't listen to the radio and try to figure out, oh, I think radio wants to hear this, or I think it's going to be that, or this is going to be the new sound. It's not. No. What is your sound? You know, good example, recent example, Zach Top. He's very traditional sounding. And, you know, I would say a few years, even months, a few months back, people would have said, oh, I'm never going to try that sound because it's never going to play on the radio, because it wasn't playing on the radio. You know, even, you know, Luke Combs, When It Rains, It Pours, that kind of music wasn't playing on the radio when he released that single. There was no When It Rains.
Remember, all the executives told him they went through, I think, like 6, well, if I remember it correctly, went through 6 songs and said none of them would ever be hits.
And they were all hits. Yeah, exactly. Because they were paying attention to the radio and what was playing on the radio and thinking it had to sound like what's on the radio. But when you're an artist, you come with a new sound and something fresh that nobody ever heard before, and that's why they just love it. So Zach Top, you know, Jason Aldean was the same thing. There weren't any Jason Aldean when he came out. So it has to be you. Just find you. Be the artist and find your sound, what you want to sing, and who knows, it might work. And the sad part is maybe it won't, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know, there's, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of artists, but only a few, you know, can make a living out of it, and even fewer, you know, become really successful at it. So it's not something that you can fabricate. It's there or it's not. But the more you're true to yourself, I think the more you have a chance of finding something really unique that people will love.
I love that. Yeah, Joe is asking about this. Yeah, he's talking about Broadway. Yeah, that's where we were on Broadway when we went with little Chris. And then Joe also said he personally likes the bachelorette party dancing buses. Oh, they're crazy down there.
Yeah, it's the capital for that.
So as we close out, tell everybody how they can find you.
All right, so it's very easy, and as you can see on the screen, it's Robby with a Y, so it's robby-johnson.com. That's for my website, and also my handle for pretty much all my social media is Robby Johnson Music, and you will find me anywhere.
Love that. You know, we really enjoyed having you on, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris and Sandy, and your son. I'm sorry I didn't pick up his name, but
Christopher, yeah.
Oh, Christopher. All right. So thank you so much, guys. It was great.
You have a great day. We enjoyed
your time.
You too. And don't forget to prepare for the snow.
Oh yes. Kids are so excited. They're ready to build a snowman.
Yeah, can't believe we're about to have 6 inches of snow here, possibly. Because like I said, our snow record is 3.6 inches. So it looks like we're going to beat that.
We might shatter that.
Yeah, there's a good chance. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.